I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Welcome to the Creating Success Out of Failure podcast. I thank you for joining us. Our mission, our vision is to help salespeople and entrepreneurs get through the misinformation that's out there. We want to talk about everyone's trials and tribulations because you know what? We all know at the end of the day, success is not a linear straight line. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get beaten down. But how do you get up? How do you overcome that? That's what we're going to be going over on these podcasts. So thank you for joining us and enjoy the podcast.
My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Hey everybody, and welcome to today's show. What we're going to go over is, can you succeed and still fail, right? And I think it's important because all of us, especially the more people I hang out with that are, A-type, go-getters, people that really strive for greatness. One of the things is, sometimes they fail, but they still hit what 99% of the people would think is great numbers, great income, great growth in their companies. So I really want to dig into this because there's a lot of things that you can take away that'll help you, right? And first, I want to just talk about, how do you measure those metrics and what metrics are you looking at, right? So for us, every year at Sprout, we set kind of, I don't want to say a budget, but basically like a game plan, kind of outlining what type of growth we want and expect, where opportunities lie. And it doesn't have to be a company. You could be doing this in sales. If you closed 10 deals last month, the next goal should be, hey, I want to close 12, or if you're really ambitious, 15, right? You always want to be pushing for more and to reach greater heights. That's how you evolve as a person, as a business, and it will inevitably lead to greater success down the line. Evan, does that all make sense?
It does. I'm happy that we're doing an episode about this because success and failure, I think a lot of people, and this is one of the reasons why I know that, we wanted to start this podcast, is a lot of people out there, when it comes to failure, they really think of it as something very negative, and they just, they think of it as something negative, and they focus on success, and they really hate failing. And of course, everyone wants to succeed, but there's really a lot to it. You have to have those metrics, you have to be able to measure things, and have, goals that make sense. And so, I think what you're saying is
sometimes goals don't have to make sense though, right? I mean, one of the cool things, I don't know who said this, okay? I don't know why in my mind I'm thinking it's Bruce Lee. If it's not, don't kill me. But the master has failed more times than the novice has ever tried, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's the truth, right? You think about it. When you're trying, like right now, I'm so proud of my son. He is picking up ice hockey because he wants to, not because I love it and I still play. And oh my God, like I'm putting him in travel. He is not the best one on the ice by far. Okay, that's a nice way to put it. And I was the same way when I started. I started late and I sucked. Like I was terrible. But you know what? I trained and I never gave up. And I kept playing with older kids and better kids. And all of a sudden I became one of the better players, right? So I'm taking him through that stage at an early age. And as long as he has fun with it, that's all that matters. So he just keeps going out there thinking, you're doing great. And he is. He's making progress every single week. It's just some of those other kids his age and older are just so – they've been on the ice so much longer, you can tell the difference, But he's getting
right.
And he's having fun, and he's learning. That's all that matters.
And I'd
So
like to jump in and say that this reminds me of something I read once that I think about sometimes if I'm faced with a failure at adversity. And it's kind of, it's that people think of winners and losers, but they're really just losers and super losers. And I feel like winners are really super losers because when you win, you have lost way more because you keep trying to win. So like when you have that success, you've tried, like you said, the master, the master has the success, but he's failed so much that instead of a success story, it's almost like a super failure story. There have been so many failures to get to that success. And that's not a bad thing, I feel like. So I don't know if that aligns with what you're thinking of, but
yeah, I,
when
I
you,
think, yeah, no, it's exactly what I'm thinking about. A lot of people, and I see it in my program, a lot of people give up way too soon. They don't build a book. They don't learn the process. They hear a few no's and they're like, oh, this isn't for me. It is for you. You just have to have the mental toughness to keep pushing through it, and it's, again, over and over and over again. You have to keep learning the craft, master it, and that's when that's when the money, that's when the success, that's when everything comes. And it takes a lot of time, like a lot of time, and it's more of a mental thing than it is physical or anything else. It's just practice and repetition. You could say that for anything, right? But I want to talk about a few things that might put this in perspective to help people, right? Help our listeners. So one, when you're out there and you're setting goals, like for Sprout, we always set very, very lofty numbers and then back in the micro details on how to hit those week by week, month by month, right? And they're very, very lofty. And I think that people should set much higher goals, okay? And then if you miss them even a little bit, you know what? Not the end of the world. You're still 10 times further than if you set, reasonable or bullshit goals, okay? And when you do that, I just don't want you to go ahead and set goals. You actually have to have a plan to hit those goals. And you know what? Most of the time when you have that plan and you follow it to detail and you put in the work and you're tracking how you are day by day, week by week, month by month, you'll find that you'll actually exceed goals that you didn't think you can hit. And worst case scenario, you don't hit them, guess what? You're still a hell of a lot better than you were last year, last week, last month, right? So that's number one. Number two, and I see this a lot, and it's kind of turned me off on social media, to be honest with you. And I see it all over the place. People boast on social media some pretty unrealistic shit. And now, listen, if they're doing it, that's great. I'm very happy for them. I don't get jealous. The problem with when you compare yourself to others, they could be in a similar industry, the same industry, or a completely different industry, is that one, you don't really know if they're hitting that or not, right? And two, not only do you not know if what they're saying is true, you might be comparing, their chapter 20 to your chapter 2, right? So they could have been doing this for 12 years or 10 years, and you just started. So it's not a great comparison to use. Don't compare yourself to others, right? And here's another thing that I've done, okay? If you do know that those numbers are factual, are true, right? Instead of getting jealous, angry, upset, or down on yourself, try to learn from them. Offer them something in value, right? Congratulate them. Don't be upset because they're winning, right, at that level. See what they like on their social media and try to connect with them. And then maybe you can pick their brain, okay? Offer to pay. Hey, I see you're doing really well. I'm very interested in that industry. I'm very interested in what you're doing. Would you mind if, we could set up a conversation? I'm happy to pay for your time. There's nothing wrong with it, and most times, most people should take that as a huge compliment. So you can learn a lot, even if they're not in your industry, you can learn a lot about how they're set up and how they're doing it. Like this month, I did myself what most brokerages do alone. And I do that almost every month. If somebody came to me and said, hey, how are you serving your clients at this, and how are you getting so many clients? If I tell them, I don't think it's going to take away business from me. They're not going to beat me because they're not me. you know, but if they serve clients and they're helping people and it helps them, good. You know, that's what this is about. You know, that you have to have an abundant mindset and abundant mentality, right? So please don't compare yourself to other people on social media. You'll drive yourself crazy. You
I
know,
want to jump in. I want to jump in really quick and say that, my experience is podcasting, and this is something that a lot of people will encounter and will think about. I just kind of want to throw in this example. It's something that I know about, and it makes sense for some people as well. So imagine if you're starting a new podcast and you listen to episode 1, right? And then you go over and find someone like Pat Flynn or Gary Vee or someone who has a podcast that's been going for a long time, and you listen to their episode 200, and you compare that to your episode 1. It's like, well, of course your episode 1 is going to sound horrible compared to that, right?
yeah,
But you need to put out episode 1 in order to get to your episode 200, which will sound just as awesome as that other episode 200. So I think that applies with all of these other examples as well, like on social media and stuff. You see someone in their $1 billion mansion, well, like you may be in a kind of a crappy little apartment now, but like you need to be there, and eventually you'll be able to make it up into the nice house or whatever. But you shouldn't if you get down on yourself because someone else is at a higher level, then that's not serving anyone.
no, you should try to learn from them, right? Like,
Yeah.
so for me, a lot of the people that I connect with, you know, especially in the syndicate and Apex, you know, more so the syndicate than Apex, they have built massive companies and have massive amounts of wealth. And I'm very happy for them. I love it, right? All I want to do is be in the room, pick their brain, ask them things, and learn from them. You know, if I was comparing myself to them, one, it's not really all that fair a comparison if we're not similar in age, right? We're not similar in industry. I mean, regardless of industry, if you're talking about wealth, you know, age does come into play there, because if I'm 33, if I'm comparing myself to someone that's 45 or 50, yeah, you know, I'd like to be in their realm, their ballpark. But and at the end of the day, I know I will be, or I'll surpass it. But you have to think they had more years to accumulate that, to build empires. You know, so you should, one, be very happy for them, and then two, learn everything you can from that person.
Because a
I've
lot of
had
these kinds of things take so much time. Like the podcast, I mean, it takes time to get to episode 200. They've been doing it for longer. You're just starting out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I got to tell you, I've had people that, you know, I've worked for companies, I've worked with people, I've consulted. I didn't agree with some of the stuff. I didn't necessarily like them, right? And I knew that I could learn from them. So you know what I did? I learned from them, right? You learn, and you can learn. You don't always have to pick the good to learn from, right? So if you know they're really strong in certain areas, learn from them. If there are things that they do that are toxic or you don't like, okay, or you think it hurts the team, hurts their company, they might not know that. But you can learn from that as well, right? You can learn from something from everybody, both good and bad. Hey, I should do more of this. And I definitely shouldn't do it that way. I'd probably try it my own way, right? So take it as a learning experience. Don't get jealous. Don't get mad. There's other things that go into this. When we're talking about, can you succeed and still fail? There's so many different facets of life. This isn't all about building a company or money or how much income you have, right? It could be investing, right? So my goals this year, I wanted to pick up 5 more investment properties, right? So for me, if I hit 5, or when I should say when I hit 5, that's great. If I hit more, when I pick up more, even better. You know, let's just say I only got 4. Well, that's 4 more I didn't have, and as long as they're all running great, it'll set me up for the following year. All right, there's ways to think about this. Spending time with family. You know, we did a show not too long ago about how to have that work-life balance. And admittedly, in the past, I definitely that was not a strong suit of mine. It's something I continuously work on, and I want to continuously improve on to be able to spend time with my kids. It's tough building a company, having a career, and doing everything that I do at a high level. And family should never be put on the back seat, right? So also, it's not just, that. It could be your faith, it could be your fitness, right? Right now, I'm on day 11 of 75 hard. I feel great. My body's a little beat up. That's to be expected. Mentally, I feel very, very sharp. I feel great. And physically, I look better. I've dropped some weight. I've put on some muscle. I know it's just 11 days. And, people are probably thinking, well, what could you really do in 11 days? You know what? The truth is, you could do a lot in 11 days. And the more important thing is you're building the habits, and the habits allow you to have long-term success, right? So what I've been doing, just to give everybody an idea and people can take from it what they want, at night I've been reading. I've gotten through two or three books in the last two weeks. And when I'm doing my outdoor workouts, I've been listening to audiobooks, and I'm not even counting those. I've got through another 2 audiobooks or 3 audiobooks in that time. One, I even went through twice. 5 dysfunctions of a team. If you're trying to build a company, right, or you're a manager, or you have direct reports, that book is fantastic. I actually have some of my key advisors going through it now. All right, that Ashley, she was on the show. She read it. Right, it's building the people up that work with you, so you can all operate at a higher level. Right. So once you look at the goals that you have set, you kind of want to analyze periodically. And when I mean periodically, maybe on a weekly or monthly basis, where the numbers are stacking up. And if you're ahead of schedule, great. What's causing you to be ahead of schedule? How do you double down on that? If you're not ahead of schedule, if you're behind schedule, or you're on schedule, look for little improvements. It's so funny when you build the correct habits, all right? And this goes for every aspect of what we're talking about. You build the correct habits, it allows you to drill down and see what can be improved, what can be measured, right? So missing numbers, missing goals is not the end of the world, as long as you're doing the analytics behind it to figure out where you can improve. And if you improve 1% a day, you're going to be a different person by the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year. And if you're continuously improving, those numbers can still get hit, right? And I think that's so important to actually drill down on. Does that make sense, Evan?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That's you need to be able to focus on those certain things to really, if you want to move in a certain direction, you need to be focused. You need to have that direction to make it happen. So yeah, no, I think everything you're saying is it. I really agree.
Yeah, and you have to know what numbers to monitor, right? So I'll give you an example. The past 2 or 3 weeks, something I've really focused on for my company, and this will transcend my company. It is applicable everywhere. Is client retention, what the experience is like, right? This also goes, if you're just in sales, this matters a lot, right? Reviews. So we've focused heavily on this, and it's to the point where we're going to redo our entire process after I've read, I think I read Word of Mouth Marketing, I've read Purple Cow, and now I'm reading the Referral Engine, right? And all these books focus on is doing more, over-delivering, and helping your clients. And if you think about it, the way my company is set up, I have 2 different clients, right? I have the business owners we're helping every single day, and I have the advisors who are work with me or consultants, but we also have to educate them. We have to give them the tools to succeed, and we have to put them on a path where they can obtain and build books of business and bring on more clients. So I really do have 2 clients. It's not one or the other, because both are very important. So what I've done, I've added internal sales. I'm working on the onboarding process for advisors, and I'm also working on how can I train the advisors to over-deliver for the clients, and then how do I make corporate over-deliver for everybody, both sets of clients, right? And this is a key focus, because if I do this, not only do I grow the team, I also grow our book of business. I grow our clients. I grow the word of mouth marketing. I grow the reputation for Sprout. And a lot of people, a lot of companies do not focus on this. And I think it's a huge mistake. Think about this. It's a much easier sell, right? Or it's easier to help people you've already helped. You have the relationship, you've built rapport, you have the trust, you know the process, right? You're a known commodity to them. So if you can offer additional services, if you can have them send in 2 or 3 referrals or people that you can help, right? That expands what you're doing. And if you can do it at such a high level that everybody you help, for the most part, send you even, another just 1 or 2 people, your business doubles from that point, right? Did you add more money into marketing? No, you probably actually cut the marketing budget a little bit because you're so focused on over delivering for your clients, right? And I think that in today's day and age, that's lost on a lot of people, right? In today's day and age, think about it. Most people buy from Amazon. Why? It's quick, it's easy, but do they buy from the same Amazon seller every time? No chance. They don't know who the seller is for the most part. When you're building a business, you put those things in place, you preach those things, and you make it part of your company culture, the company is going to grow.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And it's honestly, I think a lot of business owners don't realize the value in thinking about what the experience is like for customers or for clients. Because it oftentimes, especially if it's a business related to customers as opposed to like long-term client relationships, I feel like it's easier to get lost in thinking about them as just numbers, right? How many people paid for this or that today, right? But if you think about yourself, right? Think about what your experiences have been like with certain companies. Think about how things would be different or what you would be willing to do for that company with referrals or things like that if your experience was awesome. So if you provide that amazing experience, I mean, it just makes sense for the clients or customers to turn around and give back in the form of referrals or something like that, So yeah.
Absolutely. And part of it is having things that nobody else does, right? So I think there's 2 ways to really gain an advantage in any type of marketplace, right? You could take whatever the process is and improve upon it slightly, right? Whatever that is, service, cost, quality of product, features. Or you could go completely counter that and do something that nobody else does. I don't think the 2 are mutually exclusive. I don't think you have to do one or the other. I think you can do both at the same time, right? So, I position Sprout as a marketplace lending service, right? So we can go in there, we can get them any type of financing program they want, including where, I'm working on a big venture capital deal right now. Nobody else in this space is really doing that. Tremendous deal, right? We also do Regulation A. Nobody else is doing that. They just don't know it, right? Invoice factoring, lines of credit, working capital advances, SBA, term loans, equipment financing, you name it. I teach everybody how to do that, and then we provide that service, and we're helping clients at a much, much higher level. Even, I don't want to get ahead of myself on the new thing we're working on, but just know we're working on a lot right now, right? And then keeping the clients happy. I think education is a big part of that. As a business owner, whether you've been doing it a year or 20 years, if you can teach a business owner something that's going to help and make a difference, right? How much more loyal are they going to be? So the education piece is another big piece to keep clients, 1, with you, and 2, they're going to trust you. You're going to be their go-to for everything. We just started a little bit on the merchant service side, helping people lower their actual costs of that. Anything you can do to help a client. I don't mean to keep bringing it back to Sprout, but it's really the most relevant, and it's really in my mind right now. It's been an obsessive focus for the last 2 or 3 weeks, right? So the little things that you can do are going to add up to a big difference when you're trying to, grow and hit these goals.
And I like what you're saying, because it's not in using Sprout as an example, it's interesting because you're not saying how I'm growing is I'm just loading all of my money into marketing to get more people in and out, right, and paying money. It's not that. You've put all of this energy into, thinking about and making plans and adding programs and things that set you apart from the other people in your industry, so that when people are looking for lending or looking for services like yours, they're going to go to you because it's a no-brainer, because you have all these other services and offers and things. And so that's something that, if someone out there doesn't have to be in the business of financing, but you take that principle and you think, okay, well, I am in such and such business. There are other businesses like mine, right? No
Yeah.
business I feel like is 100% unique.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out, okay, well, why would people go to my business instead of someone else's? Well, you've answered that question with all those programs you just mentioned. You listed a whole bunch, and you've got another one in the works. And I think that's the mindset that business owners need to have if they want to
Yeah, but
grow.
think about this. If you're in sales, right? So let's just say you do mortgages, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which is not that different from what I do. I really don't think it is. I think it's actually very similar, except our, we have quicker transactions and we can help clients a lot faster. And our clients continue to take money at a quicker rate than they do on mortgages. So if you help somebody buy a home, maybe you just send them a personalized gift, right? You spent enough time with them. You went to war for them. Why wouldn't you do that? And if you send them a gift or a gift basket or something that they're going to like, it doesn't have to be a gift basket. You just put in a bunch of your business cards. Hey, if you know anyone that needs help, please send them my way. What did that cost you? 40, 50, 60 bucks max? You don't think that person's going to hand those out, right? You don't think you're going to be top of mind? What about if you just sent them something on their birthday saying, hey, happy birthday. Hope you're enjoying a new home. Things along that nature. If you're a realtor, same type of thing. It's not hard. Not hard to think how to go above and beyond and take those extra steps to help those clients.
And how to let them know that you actually care about them as people instead of just as numbers in your business.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, of course. People buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? And you have to build that relationship and you have to build that rapport. And I mean, I have clients, and this is a true story, and it's hysterical. And I kind of want to get everybody in my company on board with this. There are certain clients that I have had for years, right? So there are certain clients that, I just pick up, or they're larger transactions, they're more difficult transactions, so I tend to work on them. And what happens is when they take funds, we have a process in place, and let's just say our retention department reaches out to them. They will actually tell my retention department, hey, I only work with Jonathan, or, I'm not interested in any money. And they'll text me, well, who is this person? Sometimes it's another company, and I'm like, oh, I have no idea. All right, well, I'm not talking to them. Or sometimes it's, my retention department just trying to help them, and they have no idea. I had one guy the other day, and he's a friend of mine. He goes, well, make sure Jonathan gets credit for this. Well, I own the company. I'm going to get credit for it regardless. But I appreciate the gesture, But it and that stems from over delivering, right? That stems from educating. That stems from being a good person, right? And the difference in what I do, there's so many people that do what I do now. It's, can you serve them at a high level? Can you go above and beyond? Can you over deliver? Can you educate them? And I think that those basics transcend into everything. And if you're doing those, you're going to hit your goals, right? So let's just recap. This will be a briefer show, but I do think it's important. So can you succeed and still fail? Absolutely, right? But when you're doing this, set your goals high and then backtrack on everything, meaning make a detailed plan to hit them. And when things are going well, double or triple down on what's really working. When they're not going well, you need to take a step back, analyze everything, figure out how you can get it back on the right track, right? This isn't just monetary. It's not just business. It's not just sales. Could be spending time with your family. Could be fitness. Could be faith. All those things are important. And you want to be able to track absolutely everything, because you know what? If you can measure it, you can improve it. If you're not measuring it, you're not going to improve anything, right? We've seen it so many times. And the ability, and never compare yourself to other people on social media, right? And if you do find someone doing better than you, learn from them. Don't be jealous. Don't be upset, right? That doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve them. And you know what? You're going to turn a lot of people off by doing that. That's the truth. You know, if you meet people, there's energy takers and energy givers, right? People want to be around positive people, right? Have you ever noticed, like, when somebody negative in your life, and we'll do a whole show on this, I promise you, because I have some great stories about toxic people. All right. I've made it a point to eliminate all toxic people, right? Sometimes they sneak in, but get rid of them quick. Have you ever noticed, like, there are toxic groups of people and they always have problems? Always. They never have solutions. They always have problems. They're always complaining. They're always Debbie Downer. People pick up on that. They don't want to work with you when you're like that, right? When you're around positive people, people that want to help, people that support you, people that root for you, right? Those are the types of people you need and you want in your life, okay? I think if there's any takeaway besides all the stuff that we've gone over today, and I know that that wasn't what we were coming on for, but it does fit. You know, cut out the toxic people. I mean, it makes all the difference in the world. Evan, you have anything before we wrap this up?
And one other thing is that a lot of this has to do with confidence as well. I know we've touched on that in other episodes, but I just wanted to say that, you know, it's if I come across a business and very similar a business to what I do, and I see them doing better than me, then, you know, I have to take a moment, take a breath, and have confidence in myself. Like, yeah, I'm not there yet, right? Like we talked about, comparing yourself to someone else's episode 200. But, you know, you have to have confidence yourself. Like, I may not be there yet, but I'm working hard and I'm going to get to their level, then I'm going to pass them, you know, and it all of this kind of stuff, you know, you'll take hits to your confidence, but you need to have confidence in yourself and what you're doing
Yeah.
to make it through.
You just have to understand that 200, 300, 1,000 people, that you guys everyone can win. You know, everybody can win, right? The reason why I don't mess around with certain people or certain people that, you know, is because of the level of toxicity, because they're not positive. You know, if I used to have some people in my circle and I don't now, it has nothing to do with, do I hate them? Do I want them to fail? No, right? They were toxic individuals. They don't realize they were toxic no matter what I could do. And at the end of the day, you know, I don't need and I won't tolerate that around me. That's the truth. That's the truth, you know, and I rather focus on me and my company and my circle and not worry about what anybody else is doing, right? And if they were setting higher goals for themselves and they were really working on their circle, it never be an issue, right? There would be no issue because they are singularly focused, and that is a huge power, singularly focused on what they're doing. Okay. So as everybody that's listening to this, again, set goals. You see somebody winning, learn from them, right? Appreciate their wins. I'm not saying don't it's natural to compare, right? It's very natural to do that. Learn from them. You don't have to, there's nothing to be upset about, right? Is there food on the table? Is there a roof over your head? Do people love you? Yes, great. Move on. Figure out how you can improve yourself. Don't worry about others. All right. And again, monitor how you're doing, measure the progress. And then after you have those results in, figure out how you can improve, even if you smashed your goals, right? I think we've been working on a lot of projects over here at Sprout for a very long time. They're about to be unleashed. Guess what? I know we're going to crush our goals. And after we crush them, will I appreciate it? Yes. Will I be happy? I'll be blissfully dissatisfied even if I crush them. I'm going to be honest with you. All right. And that's what separates like the great from the like 0.01%. Because after we crush them, after I celebrate slightly, I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm going to think about how I can, 10x them. And I hate saying anything from Grant, but it's the truth. Like, how can I, double, triple, quadruple, quintuple these goals? That's the type of focus you need in your life, right? So we went through all that. Can you succeed and still fail? Absolutely. I hope that if you're listening, you got a ton out of this. If you know somebody that needs to hear it, or you want to share this with other people because they're going to get value out of it, I really hope you do. Please post it on social media, tag me, right? Post it on Instagram, post it on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I really appreciate that. And if you haven't, leave us a 5-star review. All right, thanks for tuning in.
That wraps up this episode. Remember, we are not here to sell anything. We're only here to help people, help entrepreneurs, help salespeople level up, get their business and finances and health to the next level. So please, we're never going to sell you anything on the show. If you got any value at all, just one little thing, all I ask is a 5-star review and that you share this episode on social media. Thank you, and continue leveling up.
Gotta go get it right now. Holla at me with me. It's time.
I think the stars above, I know that we're gonna make it.
It'll take all we got, we gon' make it. Show the world that I shine in our greatness. Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it, till we make it. Taking off, flying high like a spaceship. Take control, take a shot, what you waiting for? Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it, till we make it. Second verse, I'm telling you I'm ready to go, letting you know, cause I'm never below the ones that I roll with are incredibly known for getting down to the nitty gritty. If you really with me, let's go. Moves made, dues paid, most talk but don't do a thing. We certified, observers I come through and give a true display. We champions, understand me standing under a victory canopy. Canopy the enemy was handing keys, ready to drive at top speed, let's get it out. Wake up, victory's mine, on top, still on the grind. Gotta go get it right now, holla at me if you're with me, it's time.
I think the stars above, I know that we're gonna make it.
It'll take all we got, we gon' make it. Show the world that I shine in our greatness. Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it, till we make it. Taking off, flying high like a spaceship. Take control, take a shot, what you waiting for? Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it, till we make it.
I think the stars above, I know that we're gonna make it. I know the ground below my feet's gonna lift me up. I thank the stars above, I know that we're gonna make it. I know the ground below my feet's gonna lift me up.
It'll take all we got, we gon' make it. Show the world that I shine in our greatness. Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it, till we make it. Taking off, flying high like a spaceship. Take control, take a shot, what you waiting for? Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it, till we make it. It'll take all we got, we gon' make it. Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Taking off, flying high like a spaceship. Take control, take a shot, what you waiting for? Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it, till we make it.